Hello, welcome back to Garden Obsessed. My name is Carla. We've been doing some work in the garden and there's things laid about everywhere, but I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to do a garden tour and show you what it usually looks like. There's things in various states of done and undone, and this is reality this time of year. So I'll flip you guys around and let's do a little garden tour today. Alright, Lila's eating grass, but you can see my hose is strewn about here, as it generally is. And we started a little project over here yesterday. We got pretty far, we're not quite done yet. I'm adding some flower beds around our shed. We haven't done this side yet, but I had one of my raised beds has been kind of acting like a nursery bed for a few years now, and I wanted the space back. So we've transplanted some of the plants in here. There's a few more to be transplanted. And I'm also going to redo my perennial beds, I think this year, or at least one of them. And some of those might end up over here too, but I'll show you what we've got. So there's quite a few delphiniums. Those are up against the shed. I also have a couple different kinds of yarrow. There's a white one and a yellow one. We have daisies, we have sedum, and I don't know if and some echinacea somewhere, and there's more echinacea to transplant over. So that's what we've got here now. I'm gonna mulch it with, I haven't decided, I have some black mulch, which we have on the front of the house. But we also have some natural cedar mulch. I'm not sure which one I want to cover it with yet, but now onto the garden beds. One second, Lola sees something. All right, so this bed, and you can see garbage is just left. Haven't got tomato cages set anywhere yet, but I have a couple rows here. You can see the odd tulip, but this is mostly daffodils. They're all spent now. In between the rows of daffodils, I planted straw flowers. All of these little seedlings, well, there's also weed seeds, but most of the little green bits you can see is baby's breath. And I transplanted some self-seeded plants from the dahlia bed where I had annual flowers growing. So there's Orlea, Dara, Sweet William, Nigella. Some are here and some are over there. There's also bachelor's buttons, and I transplanted the Rudbeckia out of this bed into 2 rows at the back over there. There's a little bit of space here. Then we have, these are 4 orangium plants, and there's some perennial onions just starting to come up on the far side. And then I did seed some larkspur here, but I don't see any sprouts yet, so I'm not sure. It was quite old seed, so I don't know. I might reseed it and see what we get, although these could be, I see a couple new green spots that weren't there yesterday. We had some rain yesterday, so. Then here we have some peas coming up. I think I planted the snow peas on this side, and they were Oregon Giant, I do believe. And I planted different peas on this side. I can't remember which ones they were now, but we also have some ranunculus over here and some ranunculus over here. In this section, I've got some snapdragons, and then I planted, I'm trying to remember now, about 50 gladiolas, I think. So you can see them starting to come up. There's a couple more. I think a whole bunch are probably going to poke through today. These are tulips that were going to be beautiful last year until the deer ate them. So I just left them. They chomped them in half and I just left them. There are 1 or 2 going to flower and the rest are just foliage. So I have to decide if I want to leave those for another year and hope for blooms next year, or if I'll just rip them out. I might just rip them out and start over next year. And And same, these were parrot tulips over on this side that there's just a few left that never bloomed last year. Most of them did, but I left the ones that didn't. And we have some anemones over here keeping them company. I do plan to plant some sweet peas on these trellises on the outsides. And there will be cucamelons and things like that going on this trellis too. So this bed is the new strawberry bed. I transplanted a whole bunch of runners into 3 rows across. This is a 10-foot long bed, and we're losing about a foot on this side of the trellis, and I didn't get super close on this side because I knew I was gonna plant those vining plants, but in between the strawberry rows, so here's the strawberries and there's more strawberries, I put some more ranunculus. And same, like I have never had tulips in this bed other than on that side of the trellis. So I think these were all small daughter bulbs that like the squirrels and things moved, or I'm not sure. I don't know how this happened, but as long as they're not interfering with anything, I'll let them go and I'll get the odd random tulip. Like whatever works. So this bed over here is no different than the last time you saw it. That'll probably be one of our next projects to deal with. This was all daffodils. They were beautiful. These ones are all done too. I have some in the front yard that are still just starting to bloom, mostly doubles and things. This patch is all singles, but different types of singles, different colors and stuff. And we have some more ranunculus, and I also have some Egyptian walking onions in here. The garlic is looking awesome. The elephant garlic is starting to catch up, so that's good. It was a little slower than the other varieties. I have German white here and music over here. It's probably getting close to, oh, it's a good foot tall now. Yeah, definitely a foot tall, so that's good. And we have more garlic over here. This bed's a little bit further behind. I think it stayed frozen a little longer than the other bed, but it's catching up too. And you can see how much further behind the elephant garlic was than the other kinds here. Like, you know, these are probably 8 to 10 inches, and these are like 3 to 4 inches. Quite the difference. Now I did seed, I think, Bupleurum in this blank spot, and I see like a few green little sprouts, but I don't know if it's weeds or if it's Bupleurum yet. I hope it's Bupleurum. I don't think I have any more seed, and it was seed that was a couple years old, so it is what it is. This was self-seeded. These tall ones here in the front are self-seeded bachelor's buttons that I transplanted over here. I only found 3 of them in the garden, but that's okay. They're not something I use a lot of, but it's nice to have them early in the season. And some more transplanted cut flowers. Moving over here. So this is kind of turning into a second asparagus bed, which I'm okay with. And there are some strawberry plants here, but these strawberries are pine berries, so I'm trying to keep them separate from all of the other strawberries. And this trellis goes over both beds. That will get planted up with sweet peas as well. And I did plant 4 broccoli plants at the back here. This is Gypsy. It's a hybrid. I grew it last year though, and it was the best broccoli I've ever grown, so I'm sticking with it, whatever works. Hey guys, here is the asparagus bed. You can see we have lots of spears. I've started harvesting it, just the first little handful the other day. We ate it last night with our supper, and you can tell these are strawberries that I kind of spaced out and replanted over here this year. And there's an empty section in the middle because I didn't get any more done beyond that, but You can see how much more congested they are over here. So I do still need to deal with those, but it's too late in the season now. I don't want to be transplanting them. They're going to be blossoming here soon, so that will have to be a fall task now. But that's okay. So this is that nursery bed that I was telling you about. All my delphiniums were planted over there. There's random garlics in here. Those will get ripped out too. Bunch of weeds. And there's also one little clump of yarrow left and a couple of echinacea plants. I think these ones self-seeded. I don't remember planting those ones over there. I do remember planting that one. So I have no idea what colors. I had a couple of colors. I had a white, a purple, and a green. I don't know which one's which anymore, so it'll be a surprise. Then I'll be able to top this bed up with, I have a couple things of seaweed compost or seafood compost. So I'll get those on here and get it nice and ready for tomatoes and peppers. This is the bed I seeded quite a while ago. I was worried we weren't going to have any carrots. You can see a few there, I think. So they're slowly making their appearance. And something is eating some of the spinach, I think. We still have a little bit. There's more down there. This one was more sparse anyway, but... And our turnip, or our rutabagas, I haven't seen any Swiss chard pop up yet. So I might have to reseed that or plant something different in its place. I'm not really sure. This bed is going to get renovated as soon as this bed is renovated. So this is a hascap, and we've set up a new area for our hascap plants. This is the most established one, so I'm kind of afraid to move it, but it does need to move. We need this vegetable space back. There's a comfrey over there, and then a whole bunch of chives. That's a lovage plant, and the rest of it is empty. So other than weeds and also random garlics that got forgotten about, probably as bulbils. So that'll be next on our task list. Probably some of these chives could go over into that new garden bed as well. And this is our mishmash bed, which I'm not usually much of a chaos gardener, but I'm really loving it this year for some reason. So there's random flower bulbs in here that we got discount, I think 2 years ago now, and they've never gotten moved. The muscari is in full bloom right now and gorgeous, and it smells divine. There's a few daffodils there. Those are doubles. They haven't bloomed yet. There's some alliums. There's some things that I don't even know what they are over there. We have our lettuce planted in here. It's gone through several frosts. We had a frost this morning, and it could look potentially like it could be our last one. Hopefully, fingers crossed, because it'd be nice to get a head start early on some things. We've got peas back there. This middle section doesn't have anything planted underneath of it. And then we have another section of peas. I think I'm gonna put my cucumbers here. Now to me, it doesn't look like these onions are doing much, but maybe to you, since the last time you've seen them, they look a little bigger. They actually today, after the rain yesterday, they do look like they have grown a little bit. And there's more onions over there. Now, this was a bed that had a whole bunch of kale. You can see there's a patch of kale there. There's another patch over here mixed in with the lettuce. This is all self-seeded. There's a whole bunch of baby kale coming up in this garden bed. I had those plants last year go to seed, and we collected a lot of the seed, and a lot of it just fell on the ground, and I just left it, and I'm happy to let it do its thing. We've got some snapdragons here as well. And over there, that's also an ornamental allium that needs to get moved out. And these are saffron crocus. So hopefully we'll get blooms on those this year. We haven't yet. Oh yes, and I did plant the other day. There is some celery sprinkled into this bed too. So just a quick garden tour today. Things are slowly progressing. I have a whole bunch of tomatoes that would have loved to have been planted, 2 weeks ago. I start them early as always and they get big. But that's okay. They'll rebound as soon as we get them in the ground. And I have some peppers that it would be nice if I could put them in now, but it's just, they won't be going in for another 2 weeks. So, we're gonna try to get some things planted and off the deck. I think there's like 9 trays of dahlias out there. It's too early for them yet, but, and then there's probably another 8 trays of random things that it would be nice to get planted and out of the way before the next round. So that about 15 trays is my maximum for moving in and out when we need to. So it'll be nice to get some of those things planted, and I might work on hanging baskets today. Not really sure. If I do, I'll take you along with me and we'll pick away at some of this stuff. But I thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you come back. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time.